You didn't hear any of that, did you? Okay. Well, welcome everybody. We finally got these technical difficulties out of the way. So my name is James. I am actually here with your show host tonight. This is Lady Poet Speaks. I just wanted to come in and kind of explain some things to you guys before we actually get started with the podcast. So I'm happy to welcome you guys to the podcast. Happy to introduce you guys to Lady Poet Speaks. Again, my name is James. I actually own UG Digital Media and Publishings and UG Digital Podcasting and Radio. So this is where Lady Poet Speaks is hosting her podcast. Usually I will be here with her, but I'm normally just going to be in the background. You may hear me talk, or she may ask me something. We may read comments, different things like that. So usually I'm just going to be in the back, kind of doing the engineering process and just kind of keeping things flowing. But I wanted to pop in today and kind of be here with her just because she's a little nervous, as I think she probably should not be, but I think it's normal for somebody to actually be a little bit nervous as they are starting this whole thing. So I think she's great. She does very well on camera. I think that you will definitely agree to the same thing. She has a lot to go over, and she will actually be using me tonight. So I will chime in on some things, and we may have some dialogue going back and forth. But again, I am going to open the floor up to Lady Poet Speaks, and go ahead.
Thank you so much, James. So, I just wanted to say hello to all my warriors, thrivers, and survivors. My name is Amanda, but you guys can call me Lady Poet Speaks. I am 31 years old and a survivor of many things. Having been bullied, stereotyped as a bad kid, or at risk, I had no outlet. I dealt with anger surrounding my mother being sick. I battled depression, self harm, and severe anxiety. I've been through domestic violence, health battles, and a survivor of sexual assault and abuse. Open Letters to a Survivor is and will be a safe place for people of color to come and heal. I was missing a safe place, and I want this to be yours. It was through support, prayer, and genuine help that I started on the most painful, yet the most amazing journey of healing. My shame started to die because my story was being told in a safe place with safe people. How many times in our communities do we get ignored, looked over, or made to feel like these things were our own fault? How many times before we went to sleep did we soak our pillows with tears? But to the outside world, we had to look like we were fine. It's okay, survivor. I hear you, and I am here for you. Let's break barriers together. It's okay to be black, have God, and a therapist too. It's in this podcast that we will explore topics, issues, um, and problems that we deal with in our community and that leave us stuck. Let's heal by openly discussing these topics. We will authentically heal the inner child that's in all of us. Each week, we will start with the open letter, give resources, and end with an encouraging word. We will have guests who have survived and strived and turned their stories into success. Also, ones who have overcome their situation. So I just want to start with this week's letter. Dear survivor, you don't have to feel alone anymore. This podcast is for you. You matter to me. Your life matters to me. This podcast is for you. To the girls embarrassed by shame, this podcast is for you. For those who have come only to tell their secrets to the sand, this podcast is for you. To my kings who can express their feelings out of fear of being called weak, this podcast is for you. To my queen whose lives are in somewhat of an uproar, this podcast is for you. To anyone hurting by untold secrets and unspoken pain, I hear you. I dedicate this podcast to you. You are safe here. You are worthy. Don't give up. You are alive on purpose and for a purpose. You are worthy of the fight. So always continue to fight for yourself. Give yourself the grace that you give everyone else. Dear survivor, these letters and this podcast are meant for you. So each week we will come up with a topic and we will talk about it. For those of you who want to participate, we will also do a writing prompt, and you don't have to share, but they will be different things that may pertain to upcoming shows or the next week's show. So this week's writing prompt, next week we will explore depression with Black men. We will have guests, James, my producer, as well as another friend of mine, Courtney Rice. So if anybody wants to do an encouraging word for them, to just let them know that yes, Black men do suffer from depression, but yes, we hear you, we see you, and we care. You can write those and put them in the comments for them next week. We will also have a segment called Let's Go to Therapy, where we will highlight a therapist as well as companies that offer therapy in Ohio to start. And as we expand, we will give other um, states who offer therapy and give their resources. Um, James and love the idea of open letters to a survivor to bring light to the issues that we face as far as mental health goes. In a Black community, I feel like we're told to just pray about it or just go to church or let God handle it. But sometimes those things are not the only things we need. Yes, they are a tool, and yes, they do help. However, we need to be able to openly talk about these things in order to heal what we've been through. So James, I do just want to give some dialogue today. When I did talk to you and come to you about open letters to a survivor, you felt it was really important for us to get out there and speak on. And just giving a little glimpse into next week, why do you feel it's so important to bring this to our community?
I think that, and I tell you this all the time, so this is not even just for the show tonight, but it's so many people that are going through a lot of the stuff that you're talking about, plus other stuff. Like people, like it's been taboo to get counseling, and people don't really talk about stuff. You know, they kind of keep it inside and leave stuff at home, and they don't really share it with anybody. But you know, keeping it bottled up is just it's not a good thing. And I think that even you, like through your journey and you know the people who you have talked to, and I've done counseling, and I can even say for myself, not even speaking for you, but I can speak for myself and say that talking to somebody and sharing stuff and being able to open up and talk to a neutral person who does not know anything or they don't really know much about you, like it really, really helps. And you got a lot of comments in here. Definitely, I want to say something because I don't know if because you're using your phone, so you may
Right,
not be able to see the comments. But if
I
you're on a
can't.
computer, you can see the comments. And Barbara Walker's in here. Siani Pearls LLC, she's in here. Kat is in here from Transcending the Culture, and she deals with things on her own. She said, "Yes, I'm dealing with a lot mentally also." And I can even put the comments up there like as they're posted.
Yeah.
So this is like really hitting people already. Like you got quite a few people in here who are watching, and this is your first time coming on, and you've only been talking for 10 minutes. Like people want to hear about this stuff, and they need to know that they're not by themselves. So, when you first mentioned it, I immediately said, like, this is perfect. Like we need, like, it's really needed. So I just been waiting. And I'm like, she gonna be ready. She gonna be ready. I kind of thought she was scared for a minute and just kind of putting it off because she was a little nervous or whatever. But I'm glad you're here, and I know that a lot of the people who are watching are also glad, and the numbers are going up. Like I'm watching as I'm talking, and the numbers are going up as far as viewers. So like that's really, really good. Again, this is your first time and you've only talked for 10 minutes and you got people flooding in here to hear what you're talking about. So I think it's good. I think you should be happy. I think you should be proud of yourself because it takes a lot to really talk about what's going on with us. And we fear people thinking we're crazy and all kinds of other stuff, but that stuff don't matter though. Like the reality is anybody who has anything negative to say, they're probably dealing with stuff too
Right.
and not doing anything about it or whatever. So you talking about it and encouraging people to get help, they see that they're not alone. They see that somebody else is going through it and standing strong, and it's only gonna help them to be able to do that too. So I think it's good.
Thank you. And I also have an email for people who maybe don't feel comfortable talking but would love resources maybe after we're done. And that email address is open letters to a survivor at gmail.com. And so we we are going to put that on the t-shirt. I did see that. um yes, so that email address, I can send resources to different therapists or anything that you may struggle with. I do have that available, and I'll be able to give unlimited resources. I also will be doing a spotlight segment, the spotlight black businesses that may need some donations, may need help, may need anything in the community, and just flooding them with support and love as well. Um, so this week's Let's Go to Therapy, we're going to highlight um, Cleveland Health and Wellness Center, which that is where I actually go. And I found a great person that's helping me in the journey to becoming whole. And so while I'm in my journey, I would like people to start their journey or to continue on the journey where they are. Cleveland Health and Wellness Center, they have two locations. One is located in Rocky River. The other one is in Beechwood. For all counseling needs, please call 216-239-0951. Again, that's 216-239-0951. They are serving our community and our people. They do have African American therapists as well as therapists of all races, religions, and creeds. Regardless what you are facing, you will be able to find someone that fits your needs. Um, Also, if you are a black therapist and you would like to be in our Let's Go to Therapy segment, you can also email us at open letters to a survivor, and in the subject line put Let's Go to Therapy. This week's spotlight, we want to spotlight two local businesses. One is See Yoni Pearls. To love thyself, to love thy yoni is to love thyself. Sione Pearls is based out of Cleveland, Ohio, specializing in women's feminine health, introducing women to the art of yoni steaming with a product line of natural and organic products. Contact today to discuss holistic fertility treatments and personalized plans. Follow on Instagram or YouTube at See Yoni Pearls 1 or See Yoni Pearls LLC at yahoo.com. We also want to spotlight the Legendary Track Club, a nonprofit organization serving youth in Lorain County, teaching youth the importance of teamwork, goal setting, and educational excellence, giving youth between the ages of 6 to 18 the opportunity to participate in track and field competitions. Legendary Track Club is sanctioned by the Amateur Athletic Union, also known as the AAU, and USA Track and Field. Legendary Track Club is asking for donations and sponsorship. They give 100% to registration fees, uniforms, training facilities, equipment, travel, and much more. Visit legendarytrackclub.com or call 440-258-7229 for additional information and help. To find out how you can register your business for our spotlight section, please email us at openletterstoasurvivor@gmail.com, subject line spotlight. So as I said, this week's writing prompt will be for our kings that will be on next week. As we know, Black men have one of the highest suicide rates among any other race. And to me personally, it's not a proven fact, but I think it's because in our communities, they're told not to cry. Being showing emotion is being weak. So we just want to pour love into them next week to let them know that there are people out here who love them. And so we want to flood the comments next week to any Black men that may be out there. Please watch next week. We will be flooding the comments with love for you. Um, and I'm putting something together in April. I do want to let everybody know that it is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So we are going to be putting in a call to action for that. For more information about that will be given soon. And just like James said, I think that I am so honored to be here today and be open with my journey with mental health and mental well being, and being able to sit here today because I was able to build a support system and tell my story in safe places with safe people. Because of that, I wanted to give back and to do something because for so long my voice wasn't heard. So before I used to just be Lady Poet, but as I started to use my voice more and more, I became Lady Poet Speaks. I will never stop sharing my story if I know that it's going to help somebody else become mentally able to just deal with the situations and circumstances that they face. So I just want to thank everybody who joins us today. If there's any questions, any comments, any concerns, please feel free to leave them in the comments and we will answer them. If there's anything you want to talk about or any resources, thank you for sending me therapists in Florida, because I will also be creating a magazine in May called The Survival Guide, where we will have different therapists from all over the world, food pantries, anything that you may need, we will have it. So that is what we will be standing, and this platform will be a safe place. So I do have people that will monitor this page. Any negative comments, um, will be deleted automatically. So just whatever is always growing pains with every new thing. So if there are comments that are left like that, we will delete them. But this is your safe place. Just like this is my safe place, this is your safe place to be able to talk, to be able to heal, to be able to just be who we need to be for each other at that time. So, my platform is based on following the principles that God is leading me to do, and secondly, giving back to help everybody else. I'm a firm believer that once you get to where you're going, you always reach back to help someone else. And although I'm not where I want to be, I'm not where I used to be. So I'm trying to pull people from where I used to be to where I am now. And eventually, when I rise, my pastor used to always say, when one rise, we all rise. So I feel the same way. As I go up, I want to take other people with me. As I heal, I want to see healing in our communities. I want to see healing in our families. And I want to see healing in places that we try to hide. Because even if we don't say that we're hurting, our faces say that we're hurting, our movements say that we're hurting, our demeanor says that we're hurting. So I want to create that place where if you don't feel safe anywhere else, on Sunday nights at 7 p.m., you could come to Open Letters to a Survivor and have that safety net where you can just be yourself and say what you need to say to start that journey into healing. We will have different therapists and different people that may even come and do interviews. And if you need, they will leave their information in as well. So that way, there's always someone here that is able to help. Um, and like I said, if there's any questions, any comments, James, to open the floor up right now for those things.
So I think that this has been really, really good. The floor is definitely open. So anybody that's watching, if you have questions, if you have comments, feel free to pop those over, and we'll get your comments up on the screen. Or if you have questions, then we can actually get those answered for you right here. Actually, moving forward with the future episodes, we're going to work out some ways where more of the viewers can actually be involved and actually be on screen and that sort of thing. So there's a lot more that's going to be coming. Lady Poet Speaks, she will have a website going up actually within this week. So then you'll have kind of somewhere online to go and find information, along with the Facebook page that you have. You do have a Facebook page, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so what is that link for people to check that out?
So it is Lady Poet Speaks, or at Lady Poet Speaks. I do have a page. You guys can add that page. As well as if you go to my regular page and then you add Lady Poet, and then on Instagram is Lady underscore Poet underscore Speaks underscore 01. And you'll be able to find me on Instagram as well.
Okay, so we actually do have a question over here in the comments. This is from Cat Queen. What are some strategies you could suggest when you're overwhelmed emotionally?
So one of the biggest strategies I can suggest when you're overwhelmed emotionally, first, put a disclaimer out there. I am not a counselor, so these are just things that helped me when I felt overwhelmed emotionally. Number one, I've always been an avid writer, but I know that people who write can get tired of writing sometimes, because trust me, I've got tired of writing plenty of times, and I just want to throw the book. I think I got like
So,
pen
says
marks
a
all in
person
my
who's
wall.
released like 6 books in a year. But
Right. Like I've literally have like pen marks on my wall where I've thrown books because I was tired of writing. But when you're feeling overwhelmed emotionally, the first thing you can do is self-care. And every self-care looks different to everyone. So whether that is stopping, taking a minute to self-soothe, one of the things I do all the time is when I am feeling overwhelmed, I put on a Ready Gray t-shirt and my Ready Gray jogging pants, and I put my earphones in and just listen to music. And then I let myself analyze the situation. Is it really this bad? And by sorting things out helps me first. Okay, so what's the most important thing I can take from this situation, and go from the most important to the least important. And by that time I'm decompressed, I'm able to move on with the day. It's funny because
you know you do it. I know you do it because sometimes I'll call you and I'm like, oh yeah, it's one of the mornings.
right.
And
And I laugh.
I'll just be like, shut up, James. Just shut up.
Right. But once I do that, I'm able to decompress and I'm able to look at the situation from all sides, and then I'm fine afterwards.
Right,
But
right.
everybody has to process things in their own way. But just
Absolutely.
analyzing it and putting it where it needs to come. It's okay to say I'm gonna put a pin in that and come back to it later, because right now it's too much for me to handle. It's
Mhm.
okay to do that. It's okay to write it down and say, I can't deal with this today. It's okay not to answer your phone. It's okay not to, I give you permission. So anybody in here who feels like they need permission, literally 2 years ago, somebody gave me permission, and that was the permission I needed, which is the reason I'm here today.
Yeah,
So I'm giving everybody else permission to do whatever is needed to heal yourself, whether that's taking a step back, cutting your phone off, watching your favorite movie. It's okay to have a popcorn sometimes. It's okay to just do whatever you need to do to heal yourself.
absolutely. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I can't stress enough just the idea of actually having a therapist or a counselor and
Yes.
talking to somebody to get it out, because I know how it's helped me, and then I can speak on how it's helped you over the last 2 years.
Right.
I know, obviously, transportation and getting you there and that sort of thing. I can see from you going in and then coming out, and as
Right.
the weeks pass and as the months pass, like how much better you've gotten and how you're able to actually sort through like the different things that are going on. And it's a lot.
Right.
It's a lot. Everybody handles stuff differently. So what may not be that hard for you, it might be a lot for somebody else.
Right.
So I think it's definitely good.
Right. And I just want to say I'm shouting her out. So if anybody from Cleveland Health and Wellness Center, I have a therapist. Her name is Belinda. She is the absolute best person I've had. She's very nurturing, caring. I feel safe. And if you don't feel safe with the person, you're not going to talk to them. And so, James, I do appreciate you because you've gotten me back and forth every time. And sometimes I'm coming out and I'm screaming. I'm like, just don't talk to me.
Yeah.
But the other times, I'm like, okay, everything is fine. But as I said, healing is a painful journey, but it's the best journey you'll ever take because you go from seeing yourself where you were to eventually seeing yourself where you are. So,
No, I agree. So I know that this week we said that we were just going to keep it to about a half an hour. What kind of final things do you really want to get out to everybody?
I just want to get everybody out to everybody that you're loved, to give yourself grace, that I will be here every week. We can talk, even if it's something that we need to bring up from next week. I'm very transparent. So if it's something you want to go back over last week and you have questions, feel free. We'll go back over it. This is a safe space, a healing space. You can, like I said, like, subscribe to the channel. Donations can go to Lady Poet Speaks. And open letters to a survivor at gmail.com is the email address. And we will be here. And like I said, we will always have resources regardless of what you need, whether it's a food pantry, whether it's clothing, whether you just need support. There's always someone here to help. And I will always have a resource for you.
All right, all right. So we got a lot to look forward to for next week. Definitely, you're going to have a website, and we're getting multiple platforms in terms of where your show will air. So, obviously it's going to be on YouTube, it'll be on Facebook, it'll be on your website once your website is up. And then something that will also happen, which I know you didn't tell anybody because I didn't tell you, but it will ultimately land on Spotify and on Apple and on like a lot of the streaming platforms. So they'll be able to actually download it on their phones and be able to listen to the conversation. And, if should they miss the video or they missed the show, or can't really sit down and watch the video, then they can always download it and listen to it on their phone too. So they'll have that option as well. That'll be coming over the next couple of weeks. The first, the episodes will actually start hitting the streaming platform. So definitely a lot to look for. I think you did very amazing with your podcast tonight with your first episode. I know it was trial and error with you, and we had a lot of little kinks in the very beginning. Still a couple that we may need to iron out, but then I think some things just kind of work themselves out, and we can kind of just move that same way. In the following weeks to make it easier. But tell everybody one more time who your guest is going to be next week.
So my guest is actually going to be you, James Johnson, and
I need you to know that I wasn't telling you to do that because it was me. I forgot I was coming on. Is somebody else coming on though?
Yeah, and it was actually I asked him. It was actually another person. Courtney Rice, a friend of mine,
right,
battled through depression, but also survived depression, being a Black man in the city of Cleveland.
Okay, and see, look at that. And I need y'all to understand that Amanda booked her own guest. So like, she's not playing. She is not playing. She's trying to get this out to everybody, and she's trying to heal herself. And this is where it starts. And you just don't understand how valuable this is to people. Like, there's not a lot of podcasts out there that are discussing mental health and actually getting into it with somebody who is actually dealing with it themselves. So like, this is really, really good. You got a lot of people here who are commenting and who are active, and that's what you need with these podcasts, is you need people who are going to be interactive. So I think it's really, really cool. Anything else you want to get out there? I know you got your Cash App out there, Lady Poet Speaks, for anybody that wants to donate to you for the podcast. We'll get your website address up. Once the website is up, then we'll get an address posted and all that stuff. And I think that's really it. Your Facebook page, which you put that out there already. And we'll be doing a lot more things via social media. So Amanda is a newbie to the social media scene. So we're gonna get her active so that she can get you guys active, and she'll be putting some really inspiring posts out there and questions and whatnot that you guys can interact with, and then she will then bring that to the show each week. So that's going to be some of her homework, and we're
Right.
going to get some more things going here, and a lot of really really awesome guests who are going to be coming. She's got celebrities looking at her already, so like it's really really cool. So and this is great for the podcast network, and it's good to have something mental health on there.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really happy to have you here. You knew you was gonna be part of anything that I do anyway.
Of
So
course.
right. So it's all good. But I think this is great. You have been on pins and needles all week and running around and just crazy because you didn't know how it was gonna go. So how would you say that tonight went?
I think tonight went amazing. I love the feedback. I thank everyone who tuned in. You guys are amazing. And starting today, starting today, we're all doing our healing journey together. No matter where
Absolutely.
we are, we start today. So if
Absolutely.
everybody ready to start today, put a yes in the comments, like, subscribe, add, share. That's what I have to say. I'll see you guys next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and get ready to flood the comments for our meet that will be on, and let them know that they're valuable and they're loved.
And I love the way, before we close out of here, I love how you have loosened up and you have really opened up since you started. Like at the very beginning, you was kind of,
Yeah.
I could tell you was nervous. I don't know if anybody else could catch it watching, but I could tell that you were a little nervous getting started. And now it's like you're the Amanda we all know. You are the lady poet speaks that we all know.
Right.
I think this is really, really awesome. Minus the sound issue in the very beginning, I think that everything went, very well. And I'm glad that you're here doing this show. I know that everybody else is as well. And you'll be back each Sunday at 7 p.m., right?
Yes, each Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right, you guys. I think we're done here. You got anything else, Lady Poet?
No, good night, everybody. See you guys next week.
All right, we're gonna be back next week.
Bye.